Breaking news, Nigerians. The anti-Tinubu protesters have openly come out to clarify their visit to the Defense Ministry. They have stated that they insist on interim national government but didn't woo military to plan coup. Hello guys, welcome back to Spice Channel TV. Thank you for always coming out here. If you're joining us for the first time, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. The Free Nigerian Movement, FNM, has debunked the claims that their presence at the Ministry of Defense in Abuja during their protest was to woo the military to take over the country's democratic government. The protesters, who have embarked on protests for 2 weeks, have visited several places such as the Independent National Electoral Commission's office. They have also visited the US and the UK embassies, the United Nations and ECOWAS, among others, over the alleged manipulation of the 2023 presidential election. Meanwhile, the group has called for the sacking and the persecution of the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. The group also called for the invocation of an interim national government and compensation of all victims of electoral violence in the country. Addressing journalists on Thursday in Abuja on behalf of the group, Dr. Moses Paul said the claim that their presence at the Ministry of Defense was to woo the military was mischievous and ridiculous. According to him, it was aimed at hitting the polity and causing political instability. He said that the country cannot afford a return to dark years of military dictatorship, and given the contribution of Nigeria to political disputes in Gambia, that is not an option. Moses said that those claiming that our submission at the Ministry of Defense was to woo the military over a possible takeover are mischievous and desperate spine doctors whose only interest is to midwife instability in our polity, and their plans will never succeed because our country cannot afford a return to the dark years of military dictatorship, and given the contribution of Nigeria to the political dispute in Gambia, that is not an option. On the said day, we have rounded up visits to the US embassies and the High Commissions of Britain and Canada when we made a brief stop at the Ministry of Defense to read out press statements calling on the military to stay within the law in their conduct. We also call on the Spain doctors to desist from any further lies over our intentions because we cannot be a part of any plot to destabilize Nigeria any more than it is currently. It is by the illegal conduct of Professor Mahmood Yakubu. For those insisting on the unconstitutionality of the call, of the call, we like to remind you that Professor Mahmood Yakubu's actions are also unconstitutional and that public deceit is a crime. The fact that he still has a job in the commission is a proof of how much we have fallen in the pit of illegality. He said they would not deviate from their demands, which includes the sacking, the arrest, and the detention of Professor Mahmood Yakubu, the declaration of an interim government, and the compensation of victims of electoral violence and voter suppressions. The reason our country remained politically morbid for years was due to our indifferences to suppression, oppression, and injustice. That is why we have been marching for 10 days now to call awake our national consciousness to the barrage of illegalities committed during the presidential, the national assemblies, the gubernatorial, and the state assemblies elections. Moses added, guys, these guys have really come out publicly to state their claims. Now, they are coming out to clarify their visit to the Defense Ministry. Earlier on, we were hearing a report, coming from the camp of the APC that those that are going around, calling for an interim government. They don't know what an interim government means, so because if they know, they wouldn't have been calling for an interim government. I mean, come to think of it, we Nigerians knew what we passed through, in the military reign, in the military regime. And those people in their right minds, they wouldn't have called for an interim government in the first place. They wouldn't have called for the military to take over in the first place. And this was made known by Femi Fani-Kayode, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress, APC, on Thursday. He had condemned, alleged plots by some unidentified political players to install interim government in this country. I mean, he made it known that, these young ones that are protesting, they have no idea about the horrors of military rule. Because if they really have an idea, they won't be protesting for the military to take over in this country. I mean, Nigerians, we knew the high price we paid, and we knew how many people had fought against the military rule and paid a high price in that fight. And now, the young ones are protesting. They are demanding that the military should take over. They don't know what they are calling for. They don't know what they are calling for. Well, my country people, the group have insisted that they were calling for an interim national government, but they are not calling for the military to come and plan a coup d'etat on this country. That was not what they were calling for. This is coming from the Anti-Tinubu protesters, who have publicly come out to clarify their visits to the defense ministry. Earlier on, they went to the defense headquarters in Abuja, where they staged a protest. They were crying that, the military should come and see to what is going on in the country. They had also went to the US and the UK embassies. They protested there. They went to the United Nations and the ECOWAS, among others, where they said, we are tired of what is going on in this country, and we want all this to stop. We know that the 2023 presidential elections was full of so many manipulations, and the group was calling for the immediate sacking, the immediate persecution of the INEC chairman, Mahmood Yakubu. They said this man must be arrested. This man must be persecuted. This man must leave the office. He cannot continue to be the INEC chairman because this man has been compromised, my country people. So guys, what are your thoughts concerning this? I'm dropping here, guys. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you. Bye for now.